here's Brody Brazil.
I really do appreciate all the best questions and comments and contributions that you've been calling in at 1-833-4-BRODY. That number goes straight to voicemail. You leave an outstanding message. I get to listen to all of them and then respond to the very best ones here on future videos.
Hi Brody, it's Ed here from the UK. I just wanted to ask you about the realignment in the MLB. Do they really need one East and one West Coast team? Surely it would be better off if they have two West Coast teams, say Salt Lake and Portland, over Nashville, who, as you seem to know, they aren't that ready yet. If they want to keep the AL and the NL intact, it would make sense to have both teams out West, one in each league. Because of the crowded situation already out East, there's a lot more room to play with if both teams are out West. Thanks, and keep up the good work.
No, Ed, first off, thank you. It both amazes me and it warms my heart that here you are across the pond watching me on my little YouTube channel. The global reach of this thing is tremendous and incredible, and it just blows me away. But second off, the fact that you want to call in and talk about United States geography and our professional sports teams from an ocean away, I'm just thankful that you don't have these problems with like Chelsea and Man U and realignment and expansion of your football teams. You're very much more settled over there than we are here in the United States. This is kind of a North American problem that we continue to deal with in terms of expansion and relocation and realignment. So let's talk about this, Ed. And I know that realignment is the main focus of what you want to talk about, but expansion is the huge part of this. I think that realignment is going to happen in Major League Baseball with or without expansion. Now, that being understood, expansion at some point is likely. Realignment, though, is almost guaranteed. The way baseball is looking at the future in terms of its own geography, maybe they want to have more rivalries of teams that are closer together. They want to cut down on travel. They want to try and boost television ratings by creating that tension and those rivalries between those teams that maybe were in the American and National League. Now it won't matter anymore. And I know you're looking at this on a map and saying, how can I fit these puzzle pieces here and there? When it comes to Major League Baseball expansion, I guarantee you the league as a business is not going to try and fit these puzzle pieces in on a map. That's not how it goes. All they care about is the right owner, with the right stadium, on the right land, getting the right public subsidies, in the most viable markets with no outstanding drama or issues, and I'll touch more on this last main point here in just a second. But if you check all those boxes, that's all that really matters most to Major League Baseball. If they have two teams in two markets that are kind of closer together than they'd rather have, or they're both out west or they're both out east, none of that's really going to matter in the end because they'll just realign the divisions and potentially the leagues or do away with the American and National League. And I know I've said this before. It comes to some criticism. How could I get away from the American and National League? They've lasted forever. But what are they now? They don't have separate umpires. They don't have separate presidents anymore. They don't have separate rules anymore. They play each other during the regular season. That never happened before 1997. So the leagues kind of don't really exist other than name only right now anyway. So that's why I think realignment is guaranteed, even if expansion is not a certainty yet. In terms of the cities that will be competing for expansion, we already understand the short list that exists between Utah and Portland and Nashville and Charlotte and Raleigh and Orlando, and they're kind of all in the same boat right now. Maybe some are a little bit ahead of each other in public financing or in a group that's been rallying together for a bit of time and trying to make this push and trying to make their interests known. But generally speaking right now, there's not necessarily huge front runners outside of Utah and Portland that have respectively $900 million and $800 million lined up by the state of Utah and the state of Oregon. Other than that, there's just a lot of conversation here amongst those cities. And so where they fit on the map, east or west, or even in the same state or same region, to me, that doesn't really matter. Baseball is not going to care about that part. They'll deal with that with realignment. They just want to have the best fits and the right situations if, in fact, they're going to add two in this next go-around. And that kind of has been their theme and their trend in the last several decades. When baseball does decide to add teams, they do it two at a time. I want to say, though, right now, all of these cities on the list right here, and I know Montreal fans are saying, what about us? Oakland fans are saying, what about us? And I don't disagree. There's that weird thing about going back to a market you've already been to, but then what about the Washington Nationals? That happened there. More on that in just a second. I want to say that all of these cities are going to be used against each other as competition, whether they like it or not. And we're not at that phase and stage yet, but at a certain point, Major League Baseball is going to play Utah against Nashville, Charlotte against Portland, Orlando against Raleigh. It's just going to happen. That's how they're going to get these markets and regions to provide the best deals for Major League Baseball. Public subsidies. How are we going to get this land? How are we going to build this stadium? What ownership groups are going to step up? What's the public-private partnership that Major League Baseball seems to love so much here in 2025? So just prepare yourself for the fact that all of these places do exist. Yes, they have different entities that are respectively pushing for Major League Baseball in their markets, but they're going to compete. They're going to square off against each other, whether they know it or not. And just going back to the last statement here, and I think I'm repeating what's obvious, when baseball does this, they're looking for a certain checklist of things. And whichever city provides the top notch of all of these, like the right owner, somebody you can trust, somebody who may have already owned a professional sports team, somebody with an established reputation and has all the dollars to back things up through good times and bad. You're looking for that first. You obviously want a market that can provide a stadium, probably not one that already has a stadium. You're looking for a brand new stadium, probably with a bunch of land surrounding it because you know every new ballpark needs to have a village or an entertainment district surrounding it. You are probably looking for public subsidies because baseball wants to keep that trend going for them. I know the public doesn't necessarily feel the same way about it, but baseball wants to go places where they feel received and accepted by receiving public subsidies. They want to go to a viable market where they know that the fan base, there might be highs and lows over the years, but they want a very dedicated fan base, a big enough population with the right demographics, the certain age group, and the certain income thresholds to be able to afford Major League Baseball tickets. And I'll mention here no outstanding drama or issues. It just feels to me right now that the reason Oakland and the reason that Montreal are not on this list, baseball has a weird feeling about going back to these places, almost like they would be admitting guilt if they did. And that's terribly unfortunate, but I also think it's a reality at this point, that they are considering all these places that they've never really been on purpose because they're looking for something fresh, they're looking for something different, they're looking for something that doesn't come with baggage or digging up their past, which may not have been perfect. So just wanted to explain that, Ed. I really appreciate the call from the UK. Again, that blows my mind. And I look forward to more of this. If you're watching this channel from somewhere overseas, definitely call in because I would especially love to hear from you next time. I would also love to hear your thoughts and comments on this video. Put them down below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there. Helps me, the video, and the channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you back here next time.